From actors not being able to help themselves when it comes to letting loose certain sound effects upon picking up a blaster, to some rather bizarre choices of hairstyle being brought into play thanks to some real-life scheduling issues. These are those intergalactic idiosyncrasies that weren't a part of the original plan but ended up becoming undisputed Star Wars canon all the same. Gareth here from What Culture Star Wars, and here are 10 behind-the-scenes reasons for Star Wars character traits. Number 10. The contact lenses sucked. Darth Maul's refusal to blink. The disturbing sight of Ray Park's Darth Maul, voiced by Peter Serafinowicz, instantly captivated audience out of the gates coming into George Lucas's first prequel. And while his distinct Dathomirian Zabrak red and black markings and terrifying horns were menacing in their own right, it was Maul's piercing yellow eyes that really stood out upon taking in the mostly silent Sith enforcer. As it goes, the practicalities of having to boast a set of entirely unnatural and uncomfortable contact lenses for pretty much all of his screen time led to Parks actually doing his utmost to refrain from blinking as often as he could, leading to the unsettling reality of Maul spending the majority of his time in Episode 1 maintaining a chilling stare. All in all, the bisected Sith blinks just 3 times in the 1999 flick, before falling to his once assumed death at the hands of Obi-Wan Kenobi on Naboo. Number 9. Temuera Morrison channels his inner MAORI, Boba Fett's fighting style. The Boba Fett seen beating the piss out of stormtroopers and gangsters alike in his own recent spin-off and Mandalorian re-emergence in recent times feels like quite the departure from the character fans had initially come to adore during his time as part of the original trilogy. The bounty hunter turned daimyo's transition into being more of a spiritual warrior of sorts in modern times is no accident, however, with Boba actor Temuera Morrison having quite a substantial influence on the way his iconic Beskar badass is being presented as of late. As the New Zealand native himself was quick to note upon officially stepping into the older version of the Son of Jango for the first time during the aforementioned Mandalorian show, this more hardened warrior draws some rather intentional inspiration from Morrison's own Maori roots. I come from a warrior background in New Zealand. I'm a Maori and I've been trained. It gives me something to draw on. I'm using my warrior background as a source of energy and as a source of confidence. More specifically, Morrison's extensive training in the art of Maori stick fighting has consistently helped the actor lay some truly brutal staff flourishes into Fett's current array of small screen offense. Number 8. David Prowse doesn't sound like a Sith, Darth Vader's voice. George Lucas clearly knew that he'd found his man for the Darth Vader job the second he laid eyes on David Prowse in all his towering glory, physically at least. Upon hearing the West Country native let loose some of the dialogue scripted for this biggest bad in the galaxy though, Lucas quickly realized that he couldn't follow through on bringing what the cast had reportedly taken to branding Darth Farmer to the big screen.
Find the passengers of this vessel. I want them alive!
So after initially weighing up whether to head down the much more recognizable Orson Welles route for the voice of the father of Luke Skywalker, the creator of this eventual cinematic juggernaut landed on James Earl Jones' thunderous tones for this larger-than-life force of evil. This wouldn't be the only time Lucas opted to split a character's portrayal in two either, with the already noted Darth Maul being physically embodied by the out-of-this-world stuntman Ray Parks, and vocally realized by both Peter Serafinowicz and Sam Witwer at various points across the series. Number 7. Laura Dern can't help but pew, Admiral Holdo's blasting gestures. Look, you'd be lying if you said that at one point in your life you didn't find yourself wielding a fake pistol or blaster and letting loose the ever-faithful pew-pew. But there's having a bit of innocent fun while sprinting around your living room, and then there's pretending to pick off the galaxy's forces of evil on the set of one of the biggest films of the decade. Yet even that intimidating reality still couldn't stop Laura Dern from unleashing a few instinctive blasts from her mouth during the filming of Rian Johnson's The Last Jedi. In fact, Dern got so carried away with a blaster in hand on set that Johnson couldn't help but lace a few of her mouthed utterances of pew-pew into the finished article itself, with Admiral Holdo very much being spotted inaudibly pewing when firing off her weapon in the flick. So there you have it, even one of the most respected military leaders in the galaxy couldn't resist pewing her way out of trouble. Number 6. George Lucas tinkered with the suit, Darth Vader's odd toddler walk. Hayden Christensen's first steps in the iconic Vader suit were as memorable as they were initially a touch jarring. After spending 3 original trilogy entries and a ton of other extended universe stories with the indomitable Dark Lord of the Sith strutting around various corners of the galaxy like a cyborg Sith possessed, the sight of him stumbling and fumbling his way into being during Revenge of the Sith took some getting used to. This was all by design, however, with George Lucas cheekily tinkering with the legendary costume by adding some noticeable weight to its upper half in a bid to provoke a feeling of unfamiliarity and uncomfortableness in Christensen's performance. With Anakin Skywalker himself not fully adapted to his new way of being, Christensen's own difficulties getting to grips with the weighty costume helped add another layer of authenticity to this fallen Jedi's initially arduous steps into the world of the dark side. Number 5. Mark Hamill burst a blood vessel mid-scene, Luke Skywalker's penchant for side profile. Most fans are well aware of the physical transformation actor Mark Hamill went through in between the shoots for A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, due to the Luke Skywalker star being unfortunately caught in the middle of a car accident that left him with a fractured cheek and nose. However, this wasn't actually the first time the Jedi-in-training thespian was dealt some unfortunate facial damage during his early days as part of the galaxy far, far away. Ever wondered why Skywalker spends the majority of A New Hope's much-loved trash compactor scene with his face half turned away from the camera and largely stuck in the same rooted spot? Well, after trying his damnedest to make himself red-faced for a strangulated look, and that's his own words, Hamill wound up bursting a blood vessel in his eye. So in order to get around this no doubt disturbing-looking eyeball, Lucas was forced to shoot around the bloody visual until Hamill had fully healed, leaving Skywalker in a largely restricted position throughout the crushing sequence despite Chewbacca, Leia Organa, and Han Solo all moving around like lunatics in the background trying to keep the compactor from squishing the gang. Number 4. Harrison Ford's pointer, Han Solo's finger wagging. When agreeing to add one of the most charismatic actors ever to grace a big screen into your movie mix, a few things are almost guaranteed. A number of cheeky smirks breaking hearts the world over, more fiery growls than a pissed-off grizzly bear, and at least one finger point will be sent the way of a fellow castmate over the course of a shoot. Sure enough, it didn't take long for Harrison Ford to lace his eventually iconic trademark gesture into Han Solo's personality, with perhaps his most notable utilizing of the sacred finger coming in the beat which sees the smuggler shut the regularly running motor mouth of C-3PO up aboard the Millennium Falcon in The Empire Strikes Back. A New Hope saw Ford letting loose his pointer on Jabba the Hutt too, with the legendary thespian's index finger of doom also popping up in everything from the Indiana Jones series to The Fugitive over the years. Number 3. Ewan McGregor had a habit of changing hair, Obi-Wan Kenobi's inconsistent weave. Ewan McGregor's mesmerizing iteration of everyone's favorite Jedi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, was one of the most consistent elements of an otherwise hit-and-miss prequel series. Well, aside from his ever-changing weave, that is. Thanks to McGregor changing up his hair in the time between principal photography on The Phantom Menace and that episode's reshoot 6 to 8 months later, the actor was forced to don a noticeably jarring hairpiece in an effort to keep up the facade of Kenobi having his Jedi Padawan locks throughout. And these same inconsistent hair troubles would rear their head once again in the making of Attack of the Clones, with McGregor's part in Black Hawk Down requiring the actor to shave his head and face in between the principal photography and reshoots on episode 2. Only this time, instead of only being lumped with a blatant wig of wavy artificial locks, the Scottish star was also forced to sport some fake facial fuzz too, leaving the wise Jedi Master with one of the patchiest hairstyles in the galaxy thanks to the actor's busy workload around the time. Number 2. Samuel L. Jackson wanted to find himself Mace Windu's purple lightsaber. When you go by the name of Samuel L. Jackson, there's a strong chance your director isn't going to be in too much of a rush to turn down one of your requests or suggestions for a character, no matter how much it goes against whatever else has gone down on the big screen up to that point. Look no further than the Mace Windu actor's insistence on having a truly one-of-a-kind color of lightsaber, and the hilarious reasons behind this undoubtedly cool decision. As stated during an appearance on The Graham Norton Show, Jackson was concerned he may not have been able to spot himself in the Clone Wars action if he simply boasted the more traditional green, blue, or red variation of blade seen throughout the series up to that point. So upon being convinced by Jackson that this was a justifiable change-up due to Windu being, in his words, like the second baddest Jedi in the universe next to Yoda, Lucas eventually unleashed Windu's purple blade into the universe. Number 1. Hayden Christensen was told to make up his own language, Anakin's ability to speak Watanese. On top of already being weighed down by the responsibility of playing arguably the most famous character ever to be realized within George Lucas's brainchild, Anakin Skywalker actor Hayden Christensen found himself being presented with yet another tall order out of the blue. After reading in the script that his younger version of the eventual Darth Vader would be depicted uttering some Watanese at one point in the second episode when conversing with well-known Toydarian Watto, the Canadian heartthrob understandably nudged his director on precisely what this would consist of. In an unexpected turn of events, the mind behind the galaxy casually revealed that so long as it doesn't sound like English, Christensen could just make it up. Understandably panicked at the realization that he'd been set the job of pretty much creating an entire language the night before shooting, Christensen would note to The Hollywood Reporter earlier this year, "Every time I see that scene, I get a bit of a kick out of it."
Mi bosca da Shmi Skywalker.
Looking back on his rather convincing command of this fictional language during the exchange in question, you'd be forgiven for assuming Christensen had been put through some extensive Watanese classes in the lead-up. In reality, though, he was just winging it like a true chosen one. And that's our list. Know of any other behind-the-scenes reasons for Star Wars character traits? Then let us know all about them in the comment section right down below, and do not forget to like, share, and click on that subscribe button while you're at it. I've been Gareth from What Culture Star Wars. May the Force be with you. Thank you very much for watching this video today, and hopefully I will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.